Gerard sending this to us from Chicago Police Department. The new foot pursuit policy, scheduled to become effective June 11th, is designed to keep both officers and members of the public safe and balances the risk of engaging in a pursuit with the need to apprehend the individual. Details in the press release. CPD foot pursuit policy. CPD, Chicago Police Department. For the first time in Chicago, there's a formal policy that includes the following provisions. Department members are required to balance the risk of engaging in pursuit with the need to apprehend the subject. Officers and supervisors will not be disciplined for deciding not to engage or continue a foot pursuit or for instructing that a foot pursuit be discontinued based on a reasonable assessment of an incident. Let me read that one more time to you. Officers, cops, and supervisors will not be disciplined, hence punished, hence fired, hence written up for deciding not to engage or continue a foot pursuit, meaning if there's a crime, they will not be punished if they don't continue and pursue the individual for instructing that a foot pursuit be discontinued based on a reasonable assessment of an incident. There will be specific prohibitions to foot pursuit. CBT will not pursue for an offense is less than a Class A misdemeanor. Traffic offenses do not disregard, endanger the safety of others. If the immediate need to apprehend the subject is not worth the risk to responding officers, the public or the subject, officers will not intentionally provoke flight to justify a pursuit. Mandates the after-action review by CPD, Chicago Police Department, of foot pursuits. How do you read this? When you read this, what does this mean to you?
What does it mean to me?
Yes.
It means Chicago's playing by GTA rules. It's GTA 6 Chicago. You punch somebody and you run and they can't chase you. What cop in the world would chase you? So let me get this straight. If I don't chase the guy, I face no discipline. But if I do chase the guy, I have a mandatory after-action review. That's what we call disincentive. So what's a Class A misdemeanor? Aggravated assault, battery, domestic battery, criminal battery. Okay, cool. So this guy could steal your car in front of you, and you could be like, officer, he's stealing my car. And the officer's like, yeah, but he's driving away. Sorry. Sorry. Hey, this guy's robbing my store. You think you can do something? Has he started running yet? Yeah. Oh, all right. Well, I'll write a report. This is insanity. It's insanity. This is crazy.
How long before this gets changed? Because, you know, a lot of these states, they come out with this defund the police, and the next thing you know, the other day, this guy's talking about defunding the police, okay, while he's doing, I don't know if you saw this or not, while he's doing an interview, he's a, what do you call it, one of these correspondents. He's in the streets. Yeah. He's doing an interview. Well, you know, the whole idea about the city trying to be more responsible with defunding the police. In the background, you hear, ta, 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 ta. And you hear the guy saying, hey, call the cops, call the cops. Like, what are you talking about? It's caught on national television.
That was Minneapolis. That was at the George. I know exactly what that is. That was the George Floyd.
Hey, it's like this.
Yes.
So how long do you think this is even going to last?
I'd love to ask.
How long is this idea going to last?
I would love nothing more than to ask Mayor Lori Lightfoot, but not being a person of color, I'm not allowed to. She's only taking interviews from people of color, so maybe you can get her on the podcast, Pat, and ask her, like, hey, so you think it's a good thing to apprehend criminals or not?
What
are
the chances? If you were to play Vegas and if you were to gamble, what are the chances of the mayor wanting to come and be a guest on Valuetainment?
About the same chances of her waking up one day and not looking like Sid the Sloth.
Got it. So that's by the way, it's creating content for, you know, when he does stand-up. But yeah. if you're listening to this and you're watching a podcast, if you're from Chicago, and you didn't know about this, and you just read this, what is your reaction to this? If you're from Chicago, you're hearing this. Adam, what are your thoughts on this?
So who would implement a law like this? Is this actually
This is the fourth largest city in America.
No, I'm saying, is it the Chicago Police Department that sits down and says, look, we got to make some changes?
Oh, you're saying who came up with the idea?
Yeah, who come up? I assume they had a voice in this.
Of course.
I assume they had to sit down and said, guys, what can we do better? I don't know if this isn't the mayor saying you guys should do this. This is Chicago Police Department.
This is coming from the top down.
I don't know. This just screams de-escalate the police, something that I've been talking about for a while. Defund the police is a horrible slogan.
So you're actually for this?
I'm not for this, but I am in favor of de-escalating dangerous interactions with the police. So what is an example of a Class A misdemeanor?
Includes aggravated assault, battery, domestic battery, criminal battery, and amongst others.
I think ultimately what I'm reading from this, if there's some bullshit crime going on, I don't know, you know, how
your
bad
car's getting stolen.
Is a pickpocket, It's a
Car
your
being
car's
stolen.
going stolen.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
All right,
crap.
we don't
It's
need
not
a
a big
high.
deal.
We don't need a high speed.
Let's not chase them
police
down.
chase.
Why? It's only
Yeah.
40 grand. It's only $100,000.
Somebody's
car.
throwing a
Let 'em
Molotov
take the car.
cocktail
Who
into a
cares?
store
We'll get
during a
the hell
riot.
out-
There's
Well,
bigger things in life
we'll
than a
get-
$100,000 car.
I
Take
do
it.
agree. I do agree. There's
Somebody's-
bigger things in life than
So
a car.
let the guy steal your car.
Yeah.
I'm not saying.
Why not?
We'll get the helicopter. They'll come over. They'll fly over. They'll find the guy.
Somebody's taking a bat to
They're
a
fine,
school
they got
bus.
it.
Wow, buddy.
It's fine.
This is coming from a guy
Chicago-
who's a minimalist.
Don't want to bother the
If you
criminal.
stole my bike,
God
we got an
forbid.
issue now. You stole my bike. We have an issue. I'm
So
chasing
if
your ass
somebody
down.
steals your bike, you want the cops to chase him down.
Well,
I'm chasing
but that's
him
a
down.
great point, though.
I'm chasing
That's
him
what's
down.
going to happen, especially in Chicago.
Yeah.
They're going to look at the cop and they're going to be like, "You going to do something?" Be like, "I don't know, buddy," and it's going to be vigilante
Look,
bullshit.
I don't know exactly what's going on in Chicago. What I do know is that it's constantly referred to as Chirac, and some shit needs to be changed there. So whatever
I got
they've
a
been,
lot of friends in
whatever
Chicago.
they've been doing,
Bro,
it needs to be changed.
there's
I
a
have I
show-
have one friend in Chicago. His name is Matt Sapala. I think you just put him on the streets, he'll clean that thing up in an instant.
There is a very popular show that tracks Detroit and Chicago criminals called First 48. And the whole premise of the show is that if you don't catch somebody within the first 48 hours, you don't catch them.
It's in Miami too.
They gone, boy.
Yeah.
So now, not only do you not catch him in the first 48, you got to give him a head start.
Bro,
Like-
but that show is solving murders, not someone who pickpocketed you, okay?
Bro, what about the
First 48, they're not like, today we had a
This is
pickpocket
nuts.
incident on the down streets of Chicago. We've got all the
This
detectives
is
on
like
the scene.
This is
they're
like
going to find
the
out
people
who stole this guy's
the
wallet.
Dude, this is
They don't
just
give a
like
shit about
this is
that.
just like
Find
the
out
people
who committed the murder.
This is just
Find
like
out-
the people on
find out
Twitter.
the serious
The
crimes.
people on Twitter when that guy in DC died, when those two girls were trying to steal his car, they were like, "Why didn't he just let him take the car? He died. It was his fault." It was like, what? You blaming the victim for his own death? He was getting carjacked.
By the way, you know what's the problem with this with me? Okay. What is the basic foundation of capitalism? What is the basic foundation of free enterprise? What is the P word? What's the basic
Personal property?
Property.
Yeah.
Property. Okay. And property back in the days when powerful people tax, government would show up and say, "This is officially mine. You no longer have this place. It's mine." They bullied you off the streets and you're left and nobody could say anything about it, right? You mean to tell me that car is someone's property? Somebody comes and takes it and cops are not going to protect the person that owns that property? That car is someone's property. It's someone owns that. Someone's paying the bill for that. The moment I lose the safety net of making sure somebody can't just come and take my property, what the hell am I thinking about? Look, years ago, I bought a book. And I went in this whole books I was buying about how to start a country, okay? And one of the books was for adults, another one was for kids. I had my kids read this book, How to Build Your Own Country, How to Start Your Own Country. And you know what the most basic foundation of a country was? You know what's the first thing when families back in the days were thinking about going to another country to raise their kids and family? You know what's the first thing they thought about? Was what? The S word. What's the S word?
Security?
Security. It's the first thing they're thinking about is security. When you don't have kids, you don't think security. When you have kids, you think security. One night, Jennifer and I are living in this place in Northridge off of Encino Boulevard. She would remember this. One day, I park my Range Rover outside, not a gated community. I go to sleep. Never owned a gun before. I mean, I was in the military. I had M16. I had saws. I had all this other stuff that was in mine. Go to sleep. Wake up in the morning. I'm going to work. Windows shattered. They took my backpack. They took my stereo system, and they took a. You know what? The first thing I did is I went to a gun store. I bought a Glock. I bought a shotgun. Came back. I told the guys, we're not living here anymore. I went to a local gated community near a safe place, and I'm moving to that place simply because of security. I travel a lot. I don't want my family to be unsafe when I'm on the road doing other things at the time, right? Okay. This doesn't scream security. This, a mother of four is sitting there saying, what if they take my car and my daughter is in there, and my kids are in there, and somebody is there? What if my son? There's no security there. There's an element of this where the government's not doing their job to protect the family. If there is certain things we pay taxes for, right? One of the things we pay taxes for is to offer me what? Security. This is a scary thought what they're doing. And what's funny about this is I don't think this is going to last a long time. I give this 6 to 12 months. And I think the people in Chicago are going to flip out and they're going to notice either an exodus taking place or they're going to get rowdy. And once people get rowdy, people are going to change their positions. This is not something that's going to work. No one's going to go model after this. But if you model after this, It's another. You think you're hearing exodus in New Jersey or New York or California? You're about to hear a different exodus from city. You don't. By the way, you don't hear during the pandemic. One city didn't get a lot of shot taken at them. It's Chicago. Chicago was kind of under the radar. Chicago gets the shot at what? #1 in homicide, #1 in shooting, #1 in all this stuff that they've been leading for how long now?
Yeah, forever.
Forever, right?
Chirac.
But I think this could really piss off the wrong people. This is 24 hours ago.
So, all right,
put
on your other hat.
Just real quick.
Why are they doing this?
I'll tell you why. That's where I was going with this. This screams from a guy who was in an administration. This screams political bullshit. This screams, to me, setting the groundwork for her in a year from now being able to grandstand on lower crime rates. I reduced crime and blah blah blah. Look at crime was X and now it's 20% lower. It's not 20% lower. You're catching 20% less people. People are stopping. They're not calling the cops on things. You're disincentivizing. All you're doing is you're disincentivizing people to work within the system. I'll tell you something else too. I call this over there progressives. That's who I call this. These are over there progressives. They're very, very progressive over there. Like, oh yeah, you know, people are impoverished. You hear it in New York all the time now. People are impoverished. If sex work is real work. If she wants to be a prostitute, let her be a prostitute. And yeah, as long as it's over there. But if prostitutes start walking down your block, all of a sudden you're going to be like, well, we don't need prostitution in my town. Oh, you know, that's something for New York. That's something for the progressives. Let them have all the drugs they want and the prostitution over there. I'm very progressive. But then they go to their home, which is all white and gated. You know what I'm saying? Like this goes back to what I was talking about with you the other day, where people, you know, all these, you know, especially these rich white liberals bother me, man, because they sit here and they treat other people like they're pets, like they're plants that need to be watered. Like if it wasn't for us, how could these people possibly survive? You know, and then they're the ones who put their windows up when somebody else comes by. They're over there progressives. They're the worst human beings on earth, man. And this is the type of stuff where they're like, oh no, let them, you know, let them get away with it. But then let that happen to them and see the shit that they would do. Let this come to their block in the suburb 20 miles outside the city and watch how quickly they'd be at the town meeting. Awkward
you were going to say something. You sounded like you're going to say something.
You don't think prostitutes are in nice neighborhoods too? They just do it a different way. They're not slaying a pussy on the block.
They're
dressing up a little nicer and they're being a little classier.
I'm sure you could.
Like, you don't think
I'm sure you could do a tutorial on it.
You don't think in Boca that there's some high classier ladies of the night that are just kind of doing their thing?
How does one come to acquire this knowledge, Adam?
I mean, when you moved here from Jersey, I'm sure you've been here 2 weeks. I'm sure you've been approached. You dress nice. You dress in you roll up in your nice Jeep. They see you.
I look like I'm in the market.
You show up in a
anybody here from Chicago, former PD. Anybody that's on with us is Chicago, former PD. I just got a bunch of comments. Josh is. I know he's from Chicago, but I'm looking at seeing if somebody is a. I saw Josh's comment. Josh from Chicago. Cops can't do anything. No, former PD.
Oh, former.
They've had a terrible time during the past. Sad stories. Liberal governors and still trending. Marvin just gave $100. Hallie says, Pat, CPD, Chicago Police Department, National Guard, at times are all over the streets of Chicago, especially on the south side.
Yeah.
But they are very selective on who they charge. Not every major crime makes the news. It's very easy to buy off the adrenaline. The adrenal for protection. It's
they're out there looking for MAGA hats and nooses and Subway sandwiches. You know, they got to keep the streets. They got to keep the streets.
Sommelier.
Shout out to Juicy.
Juicy, yeah, sommelier. That's a different story right there on what's going on there. Yeah, you know, you asked the question. You said flip it. What were you gonna say? Flip it as what? Flip it as
why would they do something like this?
Yeah, because it's the level of sensitivity. Like they're so worried about walking on eggshells, offending the wrong person, so they're doing something like this, so they don't get the harassment charges and the people online talking about what's going on. Like right now, here's one thing I can't stand that's happening in the NBA. Oh my gosh, it's driving me nuts. So Kyrie Irving goes to Boston, and he said, "Well, the people here are just I can't say it's just the people here. You know, it's just." Everybody's a professional victim right now. And then Russell Westbrook yesterday gets pissed off. Fan throws popcorns at him. Okay, I get it. Fan threw popcorn at him. I would lose my mind if that were to happen. I'm an athlete. Like he lost it. I showed the video yesterday. I'm like, of course. What the hell are you doing throwing popcorns at the guy? There ought to be a reaction to it. 100% opportunity automatically. LeBron jumps in, you know, race baiting, hey, protecting this. It's the cities you're playing in. It's the cities. It's Philadelphia. It's Boston. It's this. Knock it off, man. You're just dividing this thing more and more. You're adding fuel to the fire even more than what we already have right now. So
it happened in Philly. Philly threw batteries at Santa Claus. You're getting mad about freaking popcorn?
Philly fans
They gave a standing ovation to Michael Irvin when he broke his neck.
By the way,
exactly. They're the most disrespectful people on earth.
What's the city Bill Burr went on where he trashed them
Philadelphia.
for 20? Philadelphia.
Yeah,
there you
the
go.
worst.
So the point is, listen, if you can handle it, handle it. You can't handle it, don't handle it.
We're talking about popcorn? Popcorn? We're getting mad about popcorn now?
This goes back to this goes back to what I was talking to you last night, man. I am so freaking sick and tired of the repentant rich. I'm so, if I gotta hear that freaking that ginger nerd from across the pond cry one more freaking time about how hard his freaking life is, Prince Harry and the princess there, Meghan Markle. If you're a billionaire, literal prince and princess, and you can't be happy, the rest of us should just kill ourselves. Like, seriously, like what? Why are we doing this? If they can't be happy, what the hell are the rest of us even doing? Shut up and buy a jet ski. Like, shut up. Like, do something. Like, go, like, my God almighty.
Are you going to take your Meghan Markle poster down, or are you going to keep it up?
She's a babe, don't get me wrong, but I mean, just shut up. If I got to hear LeBron James complain one more time, LeBron James sent out a tweet. He just don't get it, bro. He surrounds himself with bad people, man. He's got too much.
You think he's changing?
He's got too much Minister Farrakhan in his life, bro. Hell yeah, dude. The great minister has deep inside of LeBron, man. And this is a dude talking about privilege, bro. You were born 6'8". 250 pounds. You might be the single most athletic human being to ever walk the face of the earth. Some would say you were born with privileges. Some would say he had a rough go. He had a rough go of it growing up for like 11 years before he became a millionaire. Like, the dude that was an AAU millionaire at 14 years old, he's been a millionaire for longer than he wasn't. This guy is the very embodiment of, and the thing that bothers me probably more than anything else about the repentant rich is they act like they somehow were good enough to beat the system, but nobody else is. Nobody, like AOC, when she goes on her tirades about how the system was set up so that people would, you're 30. You're 30 and you're a member of Congress. You are the very proof of what this country offers. You are the walking example of the beauty of our system. Shut your freaking mouth, you morons. They're so invested in the profitability of victimhood that if I got it, Leo, you know, I love his movies, but he, like you said, they get on the Oscars, and here you are, you're the most beautiful people on earth, making the most money you could imagine, doing a job that we all want to do, right? Think about how easy it is to be an actor. You don't have to write your own words. Somebody else writes their words, and then they have to memorize the words somebody else wrote, and they're not even good at it, so they have to have a director to tell them now how to do it 20 times, and then they get a reward for it. It's like a puppy. Sit. Oh, you sat down. Yeah, here's a cookie. That's what actors are. You know what I'm saying? And we got to sit here and we got to live. Well, you know, we're destroying the world. We? What's this we bullshit? I took the train this morning, Leo. You took a private jet. You. Say you. You know what I'm sorry. I'm going on again, but
keep going, bro.
There's a lot of truth behind. By the way, you know, there was an interview with Denzel, and the guy's talking about, you know, how hard life is as an actor. He says, our job is not hard. We are the luckiest people alive. We don't have a hard job. So let me tell you, when I started working, I was a trash guy. That's what Denzel used to do. He was a trash man. From the Bronx. Is what he did. Yeah. He used to go pick up trash is what he did. And the guy's like, Larry King's like, you're kidding me? He says, no, that's what I did. He says, you know, my first job was, and then they were talking about who they were and what they did at one point. He says, what I do for a living making movies, this is a joke. This is not work. When I hear other actors complain about the fact that we have such a hard job, we don't have a hard job. We don't have something challenging that we're facing here. And this is coming from who? Denzel, maybe one of the most liked actors out there on both sides. And he kind of keeps it to himself because he knows if he says anything politically. One time a guy asked him a question. He says, so who did you vote for? Have you seen his response to that when they said so?
No.
So Denzel, did you vote? I did. Who did you vote for? And he pauses for 2 seconds. None of your damn business.
Really?
He said, none of your damn business, Denzel said. And you see people saying, oh, okay, I'm just wondering. People want to know. No, people don't want to know. It's none of your damn business who I voted for. but I voted for somebody.
They don't want another one to judge.
Of course,
Yeah.
because I mean, if a Hollywood actor tells you none of your damn business, who do they vote for? You just have to know what that means. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah.
You told the world who you voted
Yep.
for. You voted for whoever your party, your community wouldn't be happy about. Hence, you don't see, you know, some of these guys like Denzel getting as much of the spotlight. So if you enjoyed this little short segment from the podcast that we did, here's another short segment to watch. Or if you want to see the entire podcast, click over here. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.